girl, you're so fine, I can't get you off my mind. Ooh girl, nah nah. Ooh girl, nah nah. Baby girl, don't need to flex. Dance to the rhythm and you do all the rest. Ooh girl, nah nah. Ooh girl, nah nah. Fill me up with dreams, it's the only thing I need. When I'm down, lift me up with your company. There's no telling what you and me creating. We're on the same wavelength. Feel the beat tonight, something good inside. Set you free, let you lose all track of time. Come on, have a conversation. Don't treat me like a stranger. You give me motivation, make my life vacation. When we are together, I surrender. Give you all my money, make you look so lovely. Never feeling lonely. Baby girl, you're so fine, I can't get you off my mind. Ooh girl, nah nah. Ooh girl, nah nah. Baby girl, don't need to flex. Dance to the rhythm and you do all the rest. Ooh girl, nah nah. Ooh girl, nah nah. You're my island, tray of diamonds. Big was fake, help me find you. You're a blessing, reminiscing of the time when I found myself guessing. Feel the beat tonight, something good inside. Set you free, let you lose all track of time. Come on, have a conversation. Don't treat me like a stranger. You give me motivation, make my life vacation. When we are together, I surrender. Give you all my money, make you look so lovely. Never feeling lonely. Baby girl, you're so fine, I can't get you off my mind. Ooh girl, nah nah. Ooh girl, nah nah. Baby girl, don't need to flex. Dance to the rhythm and you do all the rest. Ooh girl, nah nah. Ooh girl, nah nah.
Wow, look at them, Mum. Chicken Coronation! Get your tits out for Charles!
Titties out for the king, everyone. Titties out for the king. Welcome, everyone, to the Monday podcast. Please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, please. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Hope we're all a little bit more recovered and refreshed. It was a long weekend, and there is still so much being churned out from the coronation. A lot of discussions, both within the UK and abroad, about this whole event. And it's been very interesting to read some of the commentary that has come from this. But let's get into today's podcast because there's actually so much to talk about today. It's just like on the hour, every hour. There's even stuff that's just come in that I just did not have time to put into slides. So please do bear with me. But I will get through as much as I could put together today. Okay, 300 plus of you in the chat. So let's get to it. First of all, Ginny, are you back in the UK? Absolutely not. I am avoiding going back there for as long as possible. Maybe you weren't here when I discussed this, but I am no longer looking to live in the UK. For those of you who are new, because there's a lot of new subscribers, so let me just explain. I'm no longer looking to live in the UK. I would like to travel and work remotely for maybe 2-3 years, and then I intend on settling outside of the UK. I'm not going to say which country, but I have chosen a country where I wish to settle, buy a home, and take the path to citizenship. But I'm not. The only thing I'm going to go back to the UK for is seeing friends and family. So no, I am a freelance writer, I'm an author, and I also make a little bit of money from this podcast that adds to that. So I'm pretty much able to work from anywhere in the world, and I'm very privileged and lucky to do that, which is why I see no point of living in the UK right now. This is several years in the making, but just a couple of things that have happened in the last, I would say maybe 2-3 years, was like the nail in the coffin for me. Okay, so just those of you that maybe didn't know that about me, and you can follow my travels on my travel channel and the Nomad. Okay, right. First and foremost, thank you everyone on Instagram. I hit 35,000 subscribe. Well, it's actually now 36. This was earlier on in the day, and in the last maybe 3-4 hours, it's now gone to 36,000 followers on Instagram. Because of all of the news coming out of the coronation, that really boosted the following numbers. And the video of Charles that I posted having a tantrum, that has almost, let's have a look now. I think it's, let me just check. That has almost 1.8 million followers. Sorry, not followers, views. That has almost 1.8 million views. So a lot of people coming through to my Instagram. And it's one of the reasons that I decided to do a little bit of a rebrand and start to give things a bit more of a professional look. Because I would like to become a balanced alternative source of news for royal news in a way that we just haven't had, because everything revolves around what the royal rota rats say. And now is the time to take back the narrative. And I'm so proud of everybody in this space. You know, Baron, Facts and Two Cents, everybody contributes in their own way. And this is the way in which I want to contribute. So thank you, everyone, over at Instagram. And do follow me at Instagram at Duchess of Success Official, because I probably post like 2 times every single hour. Okay, next thing. Okay, before we get into the royal news, a little bit of UK politics news. So, UKIP was the political party that pushed very, very strongly for Brexit, and that was headed at the time by Nigel Farage. Nigel has very close associations also with Donald Trump, Steve Bannon, and other far right-wing individuals in the US. Well, the UK just had its local elections, and UKIP was literally wiped out. The party that pretty much spearheaded the Brexit movement were wiped out in the local elections. And very embarrassing for both Nigel Farage and Neil Hamilton, who was at the helm of UKIP, now completely wiped off. Not a single elected representative at any level anywhere in the country. And I think this is probably a mixture of buyer's regrets, but also I think a lot of UKIP members have swung back to their traditional conservative Tory roots. So utterly embarrassing for this grifter. Nobody has actually benefited more from Brexit than people like this. This guy was taking bookings on every single TV show, just absolutely raking it in, both in the UK and the US. A lot of US TV shows booking this guy as the British voice to talk about British politics. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Sorry, don't hate the game, hate the player, I guess, because he played it well. And a lot of people followed this guy all the way to disaster, and he's rich because of it. These are the post-coronation scenes. I think I showed some of the pictures yesterday, but these are from some different angles. Trash everywhere. That's probably going to add to the bill. Add an extra 10 million of your taxpayer monies to the bill for the cleanup of all of this. And the British tabloids are still desperate to paint the narrative as Harry being alone, being left out, being left to the side, not getting to stand on the sacred balcony, the balcony of destiny. this whole balcony obsession it is a sickness and it is unhinged. Like the whole of the rest of the world is figuring out how to win the artificial intelligence race. And the UK tabloids are obsessed with a balcony and whether or not Harry was on the balcony, as if Harry cares about the balcony. And I think the reason they are still pushing this, this is Monday, Coronation was on Saturday, is because they are pissed, pressed, and vexed that Harry showed up very happy. I saw on a couple of the morning TV shows them trying to still push this narrative as Harry being alone. And Camilla was on the TV this morning, and there was another gentleman there who very politely shut her down. He just said, "Well, I was there and I saw Harry, and Harry looked, very happy, and he was in his stride." So he did it politely, but he basically let her know, "You are talking BS, ma'am." And you also had GB News tweeting this out. Everything was British, 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 but Harry had to go and wear a Dior suit. And then this individual replied on Twitter, Charles was escorted by a German Audi, by people carrying Swiss guns. He wore stolen Indian diamonds in a carriage pulled by Canadian horses. And you watched it sitting on a Swedish couch, eating Chinese food, watching a Japanese TV. Pipe down indeed. FYI, Kim Jones, who worked with Dior to make Harry's three-piece suit, magnificent three-piece suit, is actually British himself. He's actually an OBE. So he is actually an OBE. So I don't know what GB News are trying to say there, other than to get clicks. Actually, very, very elegant looking when you see the tailoring on the dummy here. And it looked really great on Harry as well. And the reason that is still going on about all of this, I think, is just to distract from things like this, from the cold stares, from the absolute miserable faces. The two ladies that you see there, I believe one is Camilla's daughter and one granddaughter. Wait, let me just get that right. Yes, Camilla's daughter and granddaughter, looking absolutely miserable while watching Granny and Mummy finally get her crown. Like, where are the smiles? And then you had Kate and William giving each other the coldest stares. It's really weird how the peasants and the serfs who were standing outside in the rain and cold, looking up at their masters in their ivory towers, seem to be more happy than the royals, aristos, and upper classes who were actually taking part in this ceremony. And I think this is something that we noted over the weekend, that there was just this darkness about the whole thing. And as much as people want to try and put on a game face, I think a lot of people, when they were seeing Charles and Camilla get those crowns, they were thinking of Diana. They were thinking of the injustice of it all. And you could just see it on people's faces. And the royals themselves looked happier at Betty's funeral than they did at the coronation. I mean, this was William going out to meet the crowds, smiling and waving, acting like a rock star. Camilla and Kate, who just come out of the royal vaults, having tomb raided Lizzie's jewelry box, they're smiling and laughing at the reception. Charles, who's meant to be mourning his mummy, welcoming Liz Truss with open arms. I mean, this did not look like a family in mourning. They looked more in mourning at the clowning than they did at the funeral. In years to come, I'm telling you, we're going to find out that a lot was going on behind the scenes. And of course, this was a payday for the tabloid press. And they had quotas to reach, obviously, because we end up with this. And this gentleman here, a Mr. Sorry, let me just make my screen a little bit bigger. Bit difficult to read. Yes, a Mr. Edwin Hayward tweeted, as the dust settles on the coronation, I've summarized the facts about Harry and Meghan. Frankly, there's little to say. Despite the Express published 136 overwhelmingly negative articles about the couple over a 4-day period, many were brutally aggressive and insulting. Then he goes on to say, Harry and Meghan, the facts, basically just bullet points of what happened, which, to summarize it even further, is Harry came, he watched as best as he could because he was obscured by the feather on Anne's hat for half the time. He smiled, he waved, and he went home. Basically, that's what happened. And Mr. Edwin Hayward then went on to list the 72 people who contributed to this festival of hate. All of the names of the individuals who wrote those 136 articles, which is brilliant. Now, I posted this on Instagram at about 2:30, 3 p.m. And I was absolutely exhausted, guys and dolls. I was really, really tired. And I actually went for a 2-hour nap. I don't usually nap during the day, but I just, my body was just saying, Anne, lay down. I went to lay down for 2 hours. I got up and I went back on Twitter, and people have got the faces, the LinkedIn profiles of a lot of these people. So I think this just shows that we are at the beginning of a real backlash of these journalists. And I think I said almost a year plus ago on this here podcast that the British tabloid reporters are going to become the story. The actual reporters will be the story. And here it is. Because now people are trying to find out who these people are, their social media pages, their LinkedIn pages, there's pictures of them everywhere. And I think it's just high time that you are aware that if you are going to continuously churn out lies, that life is going to be very uncomfortable for you. Because this right here, 136 articles of absolute nonsense, is not journalism. This, and let me show you just a snapshot of some of the articles. This is not journalism. William wants to punch Harry's lights out as pair reunite at Coronation. Piss moron claims. Harry and Meghan's plan to destroy monarchy backfires as popularity takes a major hit. Harry and Meghan torn apart for royal betrayal by the Coronation campers outside palace. Meghan views herself as a queen despite foregoing royal roles, claims astrologer. So we're done with the body language experts. We're done with the lip readers. We're done with the, what was the other one they hired? Oh, they hired psychics. Now we've gone to astrologers. Anyone else that we want to hire to let us know what Meghan is thinking? This isn't journalism. This is nonsense. This is bullying. This is harassment. And I think it is about time that some of these people's lives are made uncomfortable, because they could not handle one day of what Meghan has put up with for 6 years. And 136 articles full of nonsense. They don't see Harry and Meghan as human. They definitely don't see Meghan as human. It's just out of order. But of course, there are some royal rodents who really take the golden medal for nonsense. And one of them is Emily Andrews. I used to joke that these people literally wake up in the middle of the night thinking of Meghan. That if there's something that comes out about Meghan in the middle of the night, UK time, because everything runs on Californian time now, these people get up. I used to say that as a joke, but apparently it's true, because Emily Andrews was up at 2 a.m. UK time tweeting about Meghan. Please tell me why you are up at 2 a.m. So Meghan's 5 a.m. work emails were too much for you people. But you're up at 2 a.m. rage tweeting about a woman who's on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. Somebody make it make sense to me, please. Somebody make this make sense. So Emily Andrews tweeted, "It's interesting, must be a coincidence, that it's always the same photographic agencies that get these off-duty and candid pat pics of Meghan." So she's referring to some paparazzi pictures that were taken of Meghan and sold to TMZ. I'm going to get into those photos in a sec. And then she then goes on to say, "And of course, I too always wear Princess Diana's gold Cartier tank watch worth around 40,000 when I go hiking. Always get the gems out with the hiking boots." First of all, if she was wearing Diana's bracelet, well, she's allowed to. She is Harry's wife, and Harry and William were given Diana's jewels about their inheritance to split between the wives. Secondly, before Meghan was a royal, she was a working actress on a hit show. Therefore, she could afford to buy her own Cartier watches. And one of the watches that she bought was a Cartier tank, which was about $4,000 at the time. And she had it engraved and she wants to pass it down, most likely to Lily. So even without Diana's watch, she can afford her own. Mind you, I've seen pictures of Kate abseiling, swimming, doing archery, doing all types of things, wearing Diana's ring, wedding ring, the cursed blue ring with the sapphire. And I just think that individuals like Emily Andrews are bitter, they're angry, and they are pissed that they are no longer able to profit as much from Meghan. She's only been out the house, what, 3-4 times this year? Also, the timing of these photos. Let me just go to the photos. The timing of these photos. I believe that TMZ, who were sold these pictures by a agency. So what happens is the agency sends out the paparazzi, and then they sell them either to a TMZ or a Daily Mail, the highest bidder, basically. I believe that when TMZ probably acquired these photos, and that these photos were taken some time ago, and they waited until the coronation weekend to release the photos, so that they could then have articles like in the Daily Mail claiming that Meghan is conniving with the paparazzi to overshadow Charles, as if it's so difficult to overshadow Charles and Camilla. They could release a picture of Meghan's toe and it would overshadow them. So I do think that it was very deliberate. Again, not that I'm a psychic and I can see what Meghan is doing all the time, but why would she be out hiking on her kid's birthday weekend? That's what makes me think that these photos were not taken over this weekend. And also there were some squaddies saying that the weather wasn't matching what's in these photos. And here you have it. The Daily Mail, front page, Meghan takes a hike. And notice the fact that they're, again, making a big deal out of the fact that the Montecito mansion is $14 million. As if we didn't just spend 250 million on a whole clowning. 250 million of taxpayers' money. Himi fan, yes, somebody pointed out on Insta that it's been cold in Cali for anyone to go out without a jacket. So these photos were taken a few days ago. I think so too. Oh boy. Yes, Sandra, and that's another thing. TMZ is owned by Murdoch. And Meghan no longer has to work on these people's time. There were a few squaddies that that were saying that Meghan should lay low. over Coronation weekend. And I don't think that she should have to. She's in America, she is free to do what she wants, when she wants, announce project when she wants. She doesn't have to coordinate her life for these people anymore. She did that for the whole time that she was over in the UK, muted herself, was 50% of herself to try and fit in, and it was never good enough. Now she is free. She doesn't have to stay in the house. She doesn't have to think of whatever's going on over in the UK. Trini, they are angry they were not able to get storyline for Meghan. I mean, you better bet your bottom dollar that they have not made as much money as they would have. 163 articles of someone who was in the house the whole time and wasn't seen. Now, if Meghan had come to the coronation, there would have probably been 4 times the articles. And they are absolutely livid that they didn't make the money that they wanted to make. And the clowning is really their last chance for a very long time to make a lot of money. Okay, is there something going on in the... oh gosh. Folks, give me a sec. Give me 1 sec. Oops, sorry, forgot to take myself off of mute. So yeah, that was Meghan living her best life in Cali, going for a hike. Now, I think she's actually wearing weighted socks, which I didn't know were a thing, and apparently it helps with your balance, with your stamina, and muscle building. So I'm going to look into weighted socks. I never knew that I needed weighted socks. So, yesterday, you had the big coronation lunch. Joe Biden decided to go along. It was outside number 10 Downing Street, which is the Prime Minister residence here in the UK. And there she is examining pickle sandwiches that look a little bit dry from this picture. She was enjoying some sandwiches and some tea with Mr. Sunak. And then after the big coronation lunch, we had the big coronation concerts. And this is what the scenes look like outside of Windsor. I think this is the first time they've ever had a concert at Windsor. Now, the tickets were given out via a free ballot. And then other people such as volunteers, care workers, army personnel were also invited to come. So you couldn't buy a ticket to this, but given out via a ballot. And it generally went off without a hitch. In the end, they did manage to get some stars because it was it was like the joke leading up to the whole thing that um, they weren't able to get big stars. And indeed, they weren't able to get anybody big from the UK. They had to go to the US, had to go to Hollywood. And I thought we hated Hollywood. But here we are with Katy Perry and Lionel Richie. This gentleman over here, just sitting behind our dear Miss Charlotte, was so hungry he started eating his ticket. Bless him. Bless him indeed. Now, I didn't watch the whole thing because I just couldn't be bothered. I did manage to find a pirate link, and when I clicked the link, it just so happens actually that Katy Perry was coming on, and that was the only thing that I watched out of the whole concert. Here she is wearing gold aluminium foil. Very interesting choice of dress. Now, she sang Raw and Firework, and it was hella hilarious to hear her singing about the 4th of July at a British king's coronation. She could have actually changed the lyrics. Like, just own the night because you're a star shining bright. Baby, you're a firework. The only thing that would have made it even more hilarious is if she started singing California Girls. But I don't think there was too many songs in Katie's greatest hits that probably would have been appropriate for the Pearl Clutchers at this event. So they went with Raw and Firework. Lionel Richie also performed. And yeah, Katie only did 2 songs. Lionel Richie also performed all night long. And the reviews. Oh, actually, also Nicole Scherzinger. Nicole Scherzinger was actually quite lovely. She has an incredible voice. It's kind of good to see her actually showcasing her voice now in a way that maybe she couldn't always singing pop songs with the Pussycat Dolls, but she is actually a remarkable voice. I don't know why she sang Reflection. She sang the song Reflection from the movie Mulan, originally sang by Christina Aguilera. Don't know why they chose that song. An ode to Camilla, perhaps? Who is that girl I see? She was singing to Camilla. She was singing to Camilla. But she sounded great. She looked great. Fortunately, the reviewers weren't incredibly impressed. I didn't watch the whole show to be able to give a fair review, but The Guardian calling it a cobbled together bunch of B-listers, and Variety calling it a sorry sales pitch for a brand new king. And I am so sorry to my American friends, but unfortunately, I do think that this is the beginning of Charles and Camilla trying to sell themselves in the US. Because another thing that happened was that they made an appearance on American Idol. Now, do we remember when Meghan was on Ellen? It was tacky. Royals don't do cameos. All the rest of it. Here is Charles and Camilla on American Idol. Can you imagine the Queen on American Idol? She would never. So I'm sorry, folks, in the US, but Charles and Camilla are coming for the US. This is the beginning. And I think that this was part of the deal of having Katie and Lionel perform at the Coronation. Katy Perry has been loving life over the weekend. She got to stay in Windsor Castle, I believe, with her mum. So she's been having a grand old time on the British taxpayers' purse. I don't even know what to say to this. Of all of the weird things that I thought would come, I wasn't expecting this. I was like, wow. Okay, let's go to the comment section and then we'll carry on to the next thing. Yeah, Lottie, that's why they're angry because they shouldn't make any money off of Meghan and they didn't. Money off of their hatred. So I'm trying to scroll through the comments. Hey Church Nelly, how you doing? You feeling better? Anita, Katy Perry is no more a star. Do you know what? I don't think I would say that she's not a star anymore. It's just she hasn't had like a hit album in a while. So I think if she came out with a hit album, like she'd be back in the limelight. But I think like her real hit maker was Dr. Luke, and I don't know if they still have a working relationship with the whole um allegations about him abusing some of his female artists. So maybe that's why she hasn't really had a hit in a while. Um, Julianne, that man behind Princess Charlotte is the Governor General of the Bahamas. Well, bless his heart. Man was absolutely starving. He was eating his Coronation concert ticket. Didi, are these recent photos of Meghan? Yeah. Yeah, these are recent. These are recent. Shout out to whoever keeps making these AI generated images. I'm a bit funny about AI. Some of it creeps me out, but I do think these are really cool. John Atten, as far as I know, Harvey Levin is the owner of TMZ. Yes, but I think the media group that owns part of TMZ is under the umbrella of the Murdoch Empire. But yes, Harvey Levin is the owner of main owner of TMZ. Yeah, True for Dilly. They said they came out and said B-listers. To be honest, I was expecting that from the Guardian because they have come out swinging. They have come out absolutely swinging at the royals. They did a lot of articles leading up to the coronation, and I guess they just decided, nope, time to get the gloves off. Okay. Yeah, London lady, sorry USA, we've inflicted them on you. Who's the we? They're pushing themselves. And Howard Stern, who I do not like, but he did a very good podcast where he was talking about this. And even he, said quite rightfully, it is ridiculous for all of this to be going on when, people in the UK are struggling. And a lot of people are seeing the struggle of the everyday person. But we saw the interviews from over the weekend. There are some people who are actually fine with all of this, despite the fact that they're struggling. For them, it gives them hope. It gives them a reason. It gives them a nice little dopamine hit. I mean, I keep seeing this comment all over the place. No one does it like us. No one does this like us. I mean, I would happily trade the United Kingdom's pomp and circumstance for America's Google, NASA, Apple, and Facebook. I would rather be a country of innovators than pomp and circumstance. join Commonwealth, but we don't watch American Idol. It's okay, we good. Yeah, I feel like American Idol hasn't really been the hot thing for a while, right? The only thing I really know American Idol for is Carrie Underwood and Jennifer Hudson. Like, I don't know anyone who's really come from American Idol, who was like big for a while. Oh, and of course, Kelly Clarkson. All right. Was there anything else that I needed to mention before we wrap things up? Nope. I think that was pretty much all. Oh, here's William cracking a joke at the concert.
But don't worry, unlike Lionel, I won't go on all night long.
You won't go on or you can't go on? That's the question. Should we ask Rose? And with that, I am done for today. I will finish with your comments. Thank you, everyone. As always, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe on the way out. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this, by the way, because there's just so many, so many things I need to talk about. Yeah, William did not mention Camilla in his speech. That was a clip from a longer speech that he gave. He didn't mention Camilla. He mentioned Charles and Lizzie. And about a week ago, there were articles that came out in the Daily Fail, leaks, saying that William was going to pay tribute to Camilla, and that didn't happen. So I don't know if it's because the palace said don't give any tributes because we don't want to bring attention to the fact that there's a lot of people who still have ill feelings towards Camilla, or did he not say it because he just didn't want to, and he's trying to throw shade at Camilla? Because it wasn't too long ago that he was calling his mother paranoid. But that was interesting. And there's also another video going around. I'm sorry I wasn't able to upload it in time, but um Charles and Camilla walked past Kate, the kids, and William, and pretty much everybody bows except for William. Now, there's all types of weird royal protocols. You know, if they've already seen the person, they've bowed out of camera, and they don't have to do it again. But for people that are very strict and stuffy about protocols and image, I I feel like there's just some kind of tensions that are going on, and I think we are now seeing the beginnings of what could be a Game of Thrones between Charles and Camilla's camp and Kate and William's camp. Because the signs were there at the coronation. There was a lot of tensions, there was a lot of cold stares. You know, you had William, who just looked like he did not want to be there when he was pledging his allegiance to Charles. So, this era of British royals is going to be very, 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 very interesting. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Right. Let's get through your comments. Cookies and cream. Lionel Richie's a disappointment. Yeah. What can you say, really? I mean, I'm not someone who seeks external validation, like some of these people do. I don't feel like I would need a trinket from a royal to feel like I've, you know, reached the pinnacle of my career and my accomplishments. I don't feel like I need to be in proximity to the upper classes um to be happy, to be fulfilled. But for them, it's obviously very important, because why else would you want to be so closely associated with an institution that for the last few years have proven just how problematic they still are? Ginger Lily, I like the mask better than American Idol. Legs, no one has watched Idol since Carrie Underwood. Thanks for letting me know. And thanks for the super sticker. Um, Okay, who's gonna get the last word of the day? Who's gonna get the last word? By the way, we're still also. Oh my God, Rochelle! Thank you so much. Yes, you know that was actually lost in my slides. Rest in peace, everybody who's already logged off of the of the podcast. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Rochelle. Thank you so much. I've got so many slides. This does happen where I forget things. I wish that I could give you a super chat, virtual hug to you, Rochelle. Yeah, Harry's ghostwriter for the New York Times. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's a very long article. You can also listen to the audio version of the article. It's almost an hour long. But he did speak about his experience ghostwriting for Harry, and it was very, very interesting. Some of the main points that I just want to point out, because it's a very long article, but he talks about how when he was writing, at one point he was actually staying at the Sussex's guest house, and that Meghan would bring him treats when she would go on her walks with Archie. He also talked about how he was being stalked by the British tabloids, like physically stalks, reporters coming up to his car, tapping on the window, finding out where he lived, basically just harassing him, and that someone in the process of the book being written leaked, and that they were making up a lot of lies about him. And it's just a very wonderful article, and he talks about, you know, his relationship with Harry and how he actually wanted to add more, like a whole chapter about just the press and media treatment. So definitely go and read it. Notes from Prince Harry's ghostwriter in the New Yorker. And one of the funny things that was written was this. He says, in one section of the book, for instance, Harry reveals that he used to live for the yearly sales at TK Maxx, a discount clothing chain. Not so fast, said the monarchist at TK Maxx corporate, who rushed out a statement declaring that TK Maxx never has sales, just great savings all the time. Oh snap, gotcha. Prince George Santos. Except that people around the world immediately posted screenshots of TK Maxx touting sales on its official Twitter account. Surely TK Maxx's effort to discredit Harry's memoir was unrelated to the company's long-standing partnership with Prince Charles and his charitable trust. And those people around the world were the Sussex squad. We came with receipts, honey. We came with receipts. So, brilliant article from the ghostwriter. Go and check it out. And with that, I will now finish the podcast. Thank you so much, Squaddy. That reminded me that I forgot about that. Right. Who's going to get the last word of the day? Sylvia. It's interesting how Windsor has become so popular now that Harry and Meghan live there. Thank you, Rochelle. Oh gosh. Yeah, Sylvia, we have to keep pushing back with the receipts. Drift Dilly, give you the last word of the day. Love the squad. Absolutely, I do. And let's keep doing our thing. All right. I think Baron is on at the moment, so we can all go hop and skip over there. Have a nice day, folks. Ciao.
Baby girl, you're so fine. I can't get you off my mind. Ooh, girl, nah, nah. Ooh, girl, nah, nah. Baby girl, don't need to flex. Dance to the rhythm and you do all the rest. Ooh, girl, nah, nah. Ooh, girl, nah, nah. Sign me up with dreams. It's the only thing I need. When I'm down, lift me up with your company. There's no telling what you want me creating. We're on the same wavelength. Feel the beat tonight. Something good inside. Set you free, make you lose all track of time. Come on, have a conversation. Don't treat me like a stranger. You give me motivation. Make my life vacation. When we are together, I surrender. Give you all my money. Make you look so lovely. Never feeling lonely. Baby girl, you're so fine. I can't get you off my mind. fine, yeah, you're a blessing. Reminiscing of the time when I found myself guessing. Feel the beat tonight, something good inside. Set you free, we can lose all track of time. Come on, have a conversation. Don't treat me like a stranger. You give me motivation, make my life vacation. When we are together, I surrender. Give you all my money, make you look so lovely, never feeling lonely. Baby girl, you're so fine, I can't get you off my mind. Ooh girl, nah nah, ooh girl, nah nah. Baby girl, don't need to flex, dance to the rhythm and you do all the rest. Ooh girl, nah nah, ooh girl, nah nah.
Wow, look at them, Mum. Chicken Coronation! Get your tits out for Charles!